Can you tell us the timeline of Jon accepted the fight, went to Thailand, came back, didn't want the fight? What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
Is it accurate that there's a lot of reports about figures he was offered? Is it fair to say he was offered a lot of money to take this fight?
Yeah. Listen, he was offered what he deserves for that fight. Yeah.
If Jon Jones does not fight Tom Aspinall, he quit. Because he will walk away from something that has defined his entire adult life. When Jon Jones was a junior college national champion and he couldn't go to Division I wrestling and he chose to fight, this is what saved him. When Jon Jones had multiple run-ins with the law outside of fighting, he came back to fighting and it saved him. It allowed for him to build a great life. And honestly, I'm not mad that this young man has a life with his family and they got money and they got all these great things. It does not change the fact that by not stepping in that octagon, he quit. He didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. It's so surprising. Is he scared? No. To walk away right now opens the door for people to start having the conversation about, does this affect the legacy?
Daniel Cormier criticizes Jon Jones, suggesting he stepped away from the sport to avoid a true test against Tom Aspinall, calling it an exit lacking real competitive spirit.
Everybody's waiting for a decision when in reality you're the heavyweight champ, you're supposed to fight. You go out there and you do the job. You go fight that dude and you put him in his place. Because the reality is a vast majority of the people that will watch or were going to watch believe that Jon Jones was going to beat Tom Aspinall. Me looking at the fight, and if I look at it objectively, Jones is the favorite. Does that mean Tom won't catch him?
Daniel Cormier reignited debate across the MMA community by suggesting Jon Jones bowed out of the sport before ever testing himself against Tom Aspinall. Cormier, a longtime rival of Jones, didn't hold back, saying the choice to retire rather than face the surging British heavyweight wasn't just surprising. It looked like an escape from a defining challenge in the final chapter of his career. On his YouTube channel, Cormier stated that Jones walking away without taking on Aspinall was a betrayal of everything that once made him great. He argued that someone who once credited MMA with changing his life owed the fight not only to the sport but also to the fans and to himself. While Cormier acknowledged that Jones has achieved financial stability and a peaceful family life, he questioned the timing of this exit, hinting that it might affect how the former champion is ultimately remembered.
Tom has taken no damage. To walk away right now opens the door for people to start having the conversation about, does this affect the legacy? Because I feel like many decisions he made over the course of this last month, where he was hiccuping and he was stumbling all over the internet and he was so present publicly. He was in that pool with the Russians, swimming, getting dipped, looking happier than he's ever looked in his entire life. He's talking about how much money he's making. He's talking in third person. All those hiccups. Ariel's judging him. Chael's judging him. I'm judging him. Bisping's judging him. Demetrius Johnson's judging him. Alexander Volkanovski's judging him. The people that matter to him are judging him. And it didn't matter. All those hiccups. He felt assured that he was doing the right thing, but he wasn't. He's supposed to fight. You know, every great champion, from Muhammad Ali to George St. Pierre to Chuck Liddell to myself, they've all left the ladder down. Very few people don't. Very few people leave without opening the door for that next guy to get a chance. Khabib did it. He fought Justin Gaethje. He fought Dustin Poirier after McGregor, his biggest pay-per-view and biggest payday of all time. He dropped the ladder to the next guy and said, on the way out, I will give another guy a chance to see if he can supplant me. If he doesn't do it, I'm done.
Jon Jones has officially stepped away from the octagon, announcing his retirement shortly after UFC Baku. The news was confirmed by UFC President Dana White during the post-fight press conference, revealing that Jones personally called to say he was done with the sport, with Jones exiting the picture. Tom Aspinall, who had spent nearly 2 years stuck in uncertainty as the interim title holder, is elevated to the undisputed UFC heavyweight champion. The announcement marked the close of a historic chapter in MMA as one of its most dominant yet polarizing athletes left the game. Jones's decision instantly sparked debate across the MMA world, drawing mixed reactions from fans, fellow fighters, and analysts, some applauding his legacy, others questioning the timing.
The fact that the illustrious career of Jon Jones, the supposed greatest of all time, ends at a post-fight press conference in Baku, Azerbaijan, is a joke. Is an absolute joke. I'm sorry, but this is an absolute joke. Tom Aspinall is going to Las Vegas. At the very least, present him the title. At the very least, do something to make it up for this guy who has been sitting there watching his career just waste away for the past 7 months. Oh, by the way, his last fight was almost a year ago, 11 months. Do something. This is the way it happens. This is the way it happens. Something that could have happened at the post-fight press conference in New York. Jon Jones never wanted to take this fight. And anyone who tells you otherwise is not telling you the truth. As I've said time and again, Jon Jones asked for a lot of money. He asked for the number that everyone was talking about. He's asked for a lot of money, and as I said time and again, he deserved that money. He earned that money. After much negotiation, the UFC got him that money. Did they ask for help? That remains to be seen, but they got him the number. And Jon Jones said he was in. And then a couple of days later, he said he was out. And ever since then, the UFC has been trying to convince him to come back, to take the fight, one last fight. And he said no. Dana White guaranteed this fight would happen. He guaranteed it would happen as recently as a couple of weeks ago. It was already not a thing. The way in which this has been handled has not been great. And the fact that Tom Aspinall, at the very least, couldn't get some sort of, oh, here's the belt, here's the ceremony, here's your fight, here's your date, is shameful.
Jon Jones's recent career was marked by highs and long pauses. After edging out a controversial decision win over Dominic Reyes at UFC 247 in February 2020, he vacated the light heavyweight belt and stepped away from competition. Over 3 years later, he made his return, this time as a heavyweight, and in March 2023, Jones captured the vacant heavyweight crown with a swift and dominant performance against Cyril Gane at UFC 285. His next and final fight came nearly 2 years later, where he convincingly defeated former champion Stipe Miocic at UFC 309. But despite the excitement around his return, the matchup fans were most eager for a unification bout against Tom Aspinall never materialized.
21, bro. Stop being weird.
Wait, they want a clip. How do you feel about Jon Jones retiring?
Oh, yep. Zoom in on him?
Man, that's fucked up, though. He should have fought Aspinall.
Yeah.
He should have fought him before he retired.
I agree.
I think Jon would have beat him.
So why do you think it didn't happen? Because Ariel did say the deal went through. The money he wanted.
Nigga probably scared. You know what I'm saying? The deal went through. How much money was it though? We went about it.
He probably got the fuck you money that he said. He probably got that.
How do you not take that?
I would have
took it too.
I would have took that fight.
He could have retired off that, right?
Hell yeah.
You know. So what do you think's gonna happen? That's it. He's never fighting again. It can't be the end though.
I think he's gonna come back.
It's probably like a negotiation ploy. He probably won't double or a little bit more. I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Would you ever pull some shit like
Tom Aspinall claimed the interim heavyweight title in dominant fashion, first overwhelming Sergey Pavlovich and then finishing Curtis Blades in just over a minute at UFC 300 for the previous summer. These back-to-back statement wins proved he wasn't just holding the belt. Temporarily, he was a legitimate powerhouse in the division, with momentum behind him. The MMA world, including fans, media, and UFC officials, viewed a clash with Jon Jones as the obvious next move. Even Dana White had publicly assured that the fight was being lined up. But Jones stayed quiet on the matter, showing little enthusiasm for the matchup. His silence fueled speculation that he may not have been eager to face the rising British contender.
Jon Jones, I said it a million times and I'll say it again. He's never ducked anybody other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody. And, I think the reality is Whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know. You'd have to ask him that, but he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight then? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy the matchup, doesn't fancy the age difference?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. Only he does. We had the fight done. Listen, our job is to make the biggest fights we can make and the fights that the fans want to see. And that's what we try to do. But the minute somebody starts talking about retirement, my philosophy on that, you should do it.
Daniel Cormier wasn't the only one who sensed hesitation from Jon Jones when it came to facing Tom Aspinall. He even suggested that if Aspinall were to suffer a loss soon, Jones might suddenly find the motivation to return. While speculative, that idea sparked serious debate. It wasn't about fear in the traditional sense. Many believed Jones had simply calculated that the risk of facing Aspinall outweighed the potential reward. As Jones continued to downplay Aspinall's achievements and question whether a win over him would add to his legacy, public opinion began to shift sharply. Accusations of avoidance grew louder, and frustration boiled over among fans. At one point, long before his official retirement, petition demanding Jones be stripped of his title gathered close to 200,000 signatures.
Did you know about the stuff that came out of Albuquerque last night?
I saw it today. When I saw it today, I said, "Oh, everybody's gonna think this is why he retired."
Yeah.
Maybe that is why he retired. Who the hell knows, man? But I don't know. These are all questions you got to ask him.
Yeah.
We had the fight done. You saw me talking about it very confidently that this fight was going to happen, and then he changed his mind.
Dana White confirmed that a fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall had nearly been locked. According to him, both camps had agreed to terms, and the UFC was moving forward with confidence. But then, unexpectedly, Jones backed out. White didn't provide a clear reason for the sudden change, and said that only Jones could truly explain what led to the decision. Some speculated that ongoing legal issues might have influenced the move, but White couldn't verify that either. He did clarify one thing. The UFC had made what he felt was a fair financial offer, and in his view, money wasn't the reason behind Jones walking away.
Two more quick ones from me. So for Tom Aspinall now, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Does that defense he did against Curtis Blades count to his official defenses? Because then he would only have two more to equal Stipe, or does he have to start fresh now?
You guys are throwing shit at me that I haven't thought about. I have no idea, but I don't know.
Okay. It seems like the most obvious choice would be Cyril Gane for Tom, but is there a chance here maybe that to start the new without Jon Jones era, we should maybe do a big super fight and maybe you can convince Alex Pereira to move up, do an Aspinall fight, something like that? Or what are you thinking about the Tom fight?
Well, once I get through today, tomorrow starts International Fight Week. I'll be back in Vegas tonight, and Tom will be there all next week, so we'll sit down with him, see what he's thinking, what he wants to do. He's been great through this whole thing and literally said, "I'll fight whoever you guys tell me to fight. I'm ready to go." So looking forward to the Tom Aspinall era.
Tom Aspinall reacted to being named the undisputed heavyweight champion with both celebration and determination. Taking to social media, he expressed gratitude and excitement while also reflecting on the long, frustrating period he spent in limbo as the interim title holder. For Aspinall, the waiting game is over. He made it clear that he's ready to be an active and entertaining champion, one who brings energy back to the heavyweight division. Promising to defend the belt often and face anyone who steps up, he also gave a heartfelt nod to the fans who supported him through the months of uncertainty, vowing to return that loyalty with action inside the cage.
Tom Aspinall, the interim light heavyweight champion, the man that's held the interim strap longer than anyone else, almost as long as Jon Jones has been the heavyweight champ, he's moved on mentally. He is now training for Alexander Volkov or Jailton Almeida.
Tom Aspinall's professional record speaks for itself. With an impressive 8-1 run in the UFC's heavyweight division, most of those wins coming by first-round finishes, he's built a reputation as a dangerous and efficient finisher. His only UFC loss, a setback against Curtis Blades, was later avenged in dominant fashion. Overall, Aspinall holds a 1-5-3 MMA record, with 11 of those victories coming by knockout. Now, as the undisputed champion, the spotlight is firmly on him, and expectations are high. Many see him as the fighter poised to lead the heavyweight division into a new era.
Dana White announced it, said he is officially retired, and Tom Aspinall is the UFC heavyweight champion. I didn't think that it was going to happen this fast. That by not stepping in that octagon, he quit. Didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. It's so surprising. Tom Aspinall was waiting. UFC was waiting. Everybody's waiting. Jon Jones just walked away.
All signs point to Cyril Gane being Tom Aspinall's first challenger as the undisputed heavyweight champion, with their clash expected to take place in late summer or early fall. The bout gives Aspinall an opportunity to further solidify his position at the top, while the division turns the page. On the Jon Jones era, Aspinall has made it clear he's ready for any opponent. The UFC lines up and intends to keep the title in motion. He's repeatedly thanked fans for their patience during his stretch of inactivity, and has promised to deliver the kind of action and consistency they've been waiting for.
Shameful is the word that keeps coming to mind. It's conniving. It's unfortunate, because Jon does have one of the greatest resumes of all time. He really does. If you think he's the greatest of all time, God bless, you have a very strong case. But in my opinion, Georges St-Pierre never embarrassed himself, never embarrassed the organization, never cheated, never got caught using PEDs, beat the undisputed champion at 170, beat the undisputed champion at 185, never held up the division, vacated the title when he needed to, came back when he needed to. There's no debate. All these things matter. And yes, he has 2 losses, and yes, he avenged both those losses. All these things matter. But anyway, this isn't a Jon Jones versus GSP debate. This is Jon Jones is no longer the UFC heavyweight champion, and Tom Aspinall is. And I presume Cyril Gane will be the guy that gets the shot, and I'm okay with that. I wonder how Tom feels about that, because Jon has already beaten him.
Although Tom Aspinall now sits atop the heavyweight division, Jon Jones's exit hasn't silenced the buzz surrounding his future. Despite his official retirement announcement, many fans remain unconvinced that this is truly the end. Some believe his competitive fire might reignite, especially if the right opportunity comes along. One possibility that continues to stir excitement is a long-rumored clash with Francis Ngannou. Speculation has resurfaced about the 2 heavyweights, possibly meeting outside the UFC in a special event or cross-promotional showdown, fueling hope that Jones may not be done just yet.
Who would win, Ngannou or Aspinall?
Francis Ngannou. Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't. Yeah.
Dream that if it like, how would you see Tom?
You'll have to play that one out in your head, because I don't see that happening. Yeah.
Even with the praise and recognition coming from Dana White, a key question still hangs in the air. Did Jon Jones retire because he genuinely believed he had accomplished everything? Or was he stepping aside to avoid one final, dangerous challenge? Daniel Cormier leans toward the latter. He believes Jones viewed Tom Aspinall as too big of a risk to his legacy and chose to walk away instead. Cormier even suggested that if Aspinall were to lose the belt, Jones might be tempted to return. That theory adds fuel to the idea that this retirement wasn't about closure, it was about self-preservation.
Doesn't want to fight Tom. And I honestly feel like if Tom loses, he would come back. And that's crazy to me, because that's going to only make it worse. Now, outside of all that, we know Jon Jones has a history of things with the law. And today, I find out through people on the internet, because even today, they still love to send me things about Jon Jones. That Jon Jones has a pending thing in Albuquerque right now. That's just sad, because I watched Kevin Garnett talk about basketball and start crying. It made me question, what does this guy's life look like when he does not have this? I felt when I was watching that Jon Jones is so tied to mixed martial arts. What does life look like when it's gone? It will leave such a void, as it does for so many fighters.
And Cormier also made it clear that Jon Jones's accomplishments can't be overlooked. His impact on MMA is undeniable, and he's achieved milestones that most fighters only dream of. But the circumstances surrounding his retirement have cast a long shadow now. Fans and analysts alike are left to wrestle with a difficult question: how much should a fighter's final choices influence how we remember their legacy? For Jones, that conversation may follow him for the rest of his life.
Jon Jones is done. I don't know if this is tactics by the UFC. I don't know that this is frustrations with Jon Jones. I don't know what this is. Does it feel like the end completely? I hope it does. Because if he cares about his legacy, he doesn't want to be sitting there beating up on guys that may get past Tom Aspinall. They gave him the money. They agreed to everything. And he still just would not do it.
Did Jon Jones walk away as a champion who secured his legacy, or did he miss the chance to truly cement it? By avoiding the one opponent who could have tested his greatness. In a new generation, regardless of where you stand, his retirement is now official, and Tom Aspinall has taken over as the face of the heavyweight division. As one era closes, another begins, and Aspinall appears fully committed to making his reign unforgettable. His vow to stay active and defend the title regularly brings fresh hope to a division long plagued by delays and uncertainty. Now, as the UFC turns the page, all eyes will be on Aspinall's next move, and on whether Jon Jones's exit is truly permanent or just the pause before one last chapter.